And Rob, welcome back to About the Money. I want to talk about Craigslist and other online sellers. This is, you know, a big phenomenon in our culture today. It's like a giant garage sale, and all kinds of buyers and sellers can get together. I mean, there's a lot of good that happens in these sort of transactions, but it's also a venue for unscrupulous people.
Right.
Are you seeing more and more?
We're seeing a lot of scams that are being operated over the internet and over the phone in response to ads that are placed on the internet on sites like Craigslist. In the world of the never-ending garage sale, which is the internet, there are all kinds of opportunities for unscrupulous characters to take advantage of people who are just trying to find a job, rent an apartment, buy or sell a product.
Let's talk about some of the most common examples. You said find a job. Why would a fake employer, or what are they after when they put a fake ad in Craigslist?
Well, typically what they'll do is advertise a job, and you respond to it, and they'll say, great, we want to interview you. You know, you have to come out and interview with us, so we need you to wire transfer some money to pay for an airline ticket or some other expense that they've made up. Once you wire transfer that money, you won't hear from them again. You'll be out the $400, $800, whatever the amount is, and that job that you were promised, of course, is not there to begin with.
And rent apartments, same thing, that they need a deposit or something?
And typically what you're seeing there is the landlord requires a rent deposit or first and last month's rent to be made by wire transfer. This can even happen with vacation rentals where they demand that you wire transfer. And we're talking a lot about wire transfers here because the bad guys know that when you wire transfer money, it comes out of your account, it's gone, as opposed to a check that you mail where you have an opportunity to stop the check if you become suspicious. Wire transfer is instant. And of course, often the wire transfer scams are matched with a fake check that they send to you in advance. So that's what we see with the unscrupulous auto buyer, for example.
That actually happened to me. I was telling you that, you know, I was trying to sell a car, and some guy said he was buying for a professor in Germany. He'll pay me extra if I would send him money in advance. In this case, he said a plane ticket, or you say sometimes for shipping.
To pay for shipping. So often the way the scam works is they'll offer to pay you $5,000 more than your asking price for the vehicle. They'll send you a check for that higher amount. They'll say, we need you to take that extra amount and wire transfer it to a shipping company that will then arrange for the car to be shipped to the buyer. What happens, of course, is that you deposit the check. You then go and wire transfer the money. The check is sitting there. Takes a while before the bank decides it's not going to. It bounces, and you're out the money. Any amount you wire transfer is out of your account, and you are responsible for it.
Thank God I didn't go for that. It just sounded suspicious.
Your antenna went up, and you followed your instincts, and most people do. But it only takes a few people falling for the scam for this to become an ongoing problem.
So what to do about it? I mean, first of all, local sellers and buyers, maybe check them out. You can see them more.
Right. I mean, why buy or sell a car to someone out of state unless it's a rare or collectible car where you're going to have documentation? Buy or sell locally with someone you can meet face to face. You certainly wouldn't want to buy a car that you can't test drive and have inspected by a qualified mechanic. And again, be suspicious of people who contact you from out of state who want to buy your car and have it shipped. Again, why go to all that trouble unless you have a very special car that they're a collector of?
You put up the red flag about wire transfers. What about third-party payers like PayPal and things like that? Is that some safeguards there?
There are safeguards when you use PayPal or its owner, eBay, because they are very sophisticated. They're always watching out for potential fraud, and they're going to keep the bad actors off their services. Now, Craigslist is a different matter. Craigslist is just a great free classified advertising system. They don't act as the middleman between the buyer and the seller. Therefore, you're typically going to arrange for payment separately outside of that internet environment, and that's where you need to really be careful that you're not being conned into wire transferring money to someone providing a service or buying.
And I understand this is something that your office is very interested in, and you have some agreements with Craigslist and other providers about this.
Exactly. We've gone after after Western Union and after MoneyGram for facilitating, not knowingly, but by being careless, fraudulent wire transfers. At one point, several years ago, it was estimated that 1 out of $3 being wire transferred to Canada was fraud.
Wow.
So we went after them because they were being careless. They weren't checking. Now they do check more. They do require people to provide more information, and that's helping, we think. We know that bad guys sometimes coach their victims to try to get around those safeguards that Western Union and MoneyGram have put in place. Craigslist is another area we've been concerned. We did go to Craigslist, and they agreed to make changes to their policy for advertising in the, shall we say, personal services section of their
sex.
Yeah, basically, prostitution and whatnot. They now require, as a result of this agreement, a phone number and a valid credit card. They actually have to pay a fee to place an ad for those kinds of services because we want them to have a valid credit card so that they can be traced.
Can track them.
That's exactly. It's not so much. In fact, Craigslist is going to donate any money they collect to charity. The point is, you have to actually put some money down in order to validate the credit card. So as we see areas crop up, we work with the internet companies to try to find ways to protect the public, and they've been pretty good about working with us.
Good job. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Still ahead, how the trouble in the U.S. auto industry affects Northwest investors. But first, the most important gift you give your children may be your financial values.